Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our webinar series, Embracing Change. Today we have Christine, all the way from Montreal, Canada. Thank you, Christine, for taking the time and being here so early in the morning for you.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you for being you in terms of the incredible work that you do, which I'd like you to briefly introduce what you do and what is nonverbal, what does that mean? And then we'll go into how it impacts our relationships and beyond. So I think let's just begin very simply. So welcome everyone, and over to you, Christine.
Thank you so much. Well, one day I saw a man on TV and he was talking about crossing arms. And he said that we were not in a close position when we were closing our arms like this. And I said to myself, this is fantastic. I think the same thing. Oh, well, there is someone in the world that is thinking like me. And we are there like talking and say, you are close, not I no, I'm not close, I'm cold, So I thought to myself, it could be really interesting to go further into nonverbal, to understand what is going on in front of me while I'm talking with my family, with my colleagues, with my clients, what is happening while I'm talking. So I took the first course. Well, first I bought a book and I said to myself, I'm going to be an expert after this, of course. So I bought the book and I said, oh, it's a little bit, it's a little bit difficult to understand everything. So I took a course. And the first course, I thought that it was only a 2-day training. So I said to myself, 2-day training with the book, it will be fantastic. I'm going to be an expert at the end. But I understand that it was so deep. It was 300-hour training to understand body language. And you know what? It's not enough. So I took the 300-hour and I discovered an entire new world, the body language, the human. It was the first time that I saw people like this around me. I really think that we do not observe people at all. We are staying only into the words. And for the first time, I was seeing people. I was seeing reaction, rejection sign or openness. And it was really great. So at that moment, the Canadian Armed Forces knew that I had this skill and came to me and asked me for training. So I opened a lot into the security file, but I'm working with people, with psychologists, with doctors, with people that has to intervene with others to analyze, to observe, and to have a better communication and understanding. So it's why I'm doing this.
Yes, the ability to connect, the ability to relate.
Yeah.
Right? And the lack of understanding of why people respond the way they do based on even them not knowing, but our nonverbal, right? So why don't we go very simple and say, okay, what does that mean? Like when you say nonverbal, I know now you gave the example of crossing your arms, which I obviously won't do, otherwise I'll get in trouble. And I'll try my best. This is a long shot. So let's go maybe with the basics, if that's what you feel, for people to understand what are we talking about? Facial expressions, hand movements, eye movements, head movements, whatever you feel would be a good 101. We don't have 300 hours, we have one. And everybody wants to be an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand this. Yeah. First of all, we have to understand that we have 3 levels of exchange. We have the words, the tone of voice, and the body language, the gestures. So there is a man one day who made the quantification in percentage regarding all those 3 levels. Ray Birtwistle did this quantification. And he said that the words was only 7% of our communication. I had a shock at that point. Yeah, I said to myself, are we saying everything for nothing all day long? So it's only 7%. The tone of voice is 38% and the nonverbal 55%. You know, the mind is really, the brain is really sometimes a little bit lazy. And when we finish talking with someone, what is staying in our head, it's often the body language. And we say to ourselves, I didn't feel this person. We don't know why, but it stay inside. So let's coming back into the 7%, 38 and 55. To have a good communication, we have to understand those three levels. So let's say that I'm using only the words in my communication. So I don't have any tone of voice and I don't move at all. So I'm using only the words like this, and I'm going to tell you for 1 hour everything about nonverbal. You will think that it's really interesting, but you will not be concentrated because it's only words. You see, it's only words. The 7% is regarding this part of the communication. It's why it's important to add other levels. The second level is the 38%, the tone and the intonation of the voice. So if I add this information, and again, I still not moving. So only words, only tone of voice. I'm not moving. I will say the same thing. Look at this. Wow. You know, Faisal, the communication today will be fantastic. Did you know that there is 7% of the words and blah, blah, blah? You see, because I put a little bit more emphasis into my tone of voice, you were a little bit more there asking some question, you know, and trying to understand where I'm going with this. But if I'm not moving while I'm talking, we call this rigidity on stress, because the body wants to explain everything. The body is, it goes with the head. It's all together. So the head is thinking and the body wants to explain. So when we are talking without moving, it's because, well, there is a few explanation. Of course, it's not only one explanation, but usually it's because you are under stress. And we have to make the difference between a body who is under stress and a body who is really like relaxed and do not have to move at all. So it's regarding the nonverbal. So the nonverbal is one part of the level of exchange.
Okay. So you want to give us some examples of good, not so good, what it means in terms of subconscious? Is there a difference between conscious and subconscious as well?
This is a really good question. You know what? There is conscious, semi-conscious, and non-conscious gesture. So so there is a conscious gesture. Conscious gesture, you shake hand, you say hi to someone, you take your glass of water. This is conscious gesture. Semi-conscious gesture is gesture that you are doing a lot. It's like something that you do a lot, like une habitude, and it's something that you do a lot, and you're not aware anymore about this gesture. Let's say that I'm playing a lot with my hair, and then when I'm playing with my hair, I don't notice it because I'm doing it a lot. So this is semi-conscious gesture. The semi-conscious gesture, I can be aware about it if you say to me, Christine, you just touched your hair. And then I will say, oh yeah, I remember I did it. But non-conscious gesture is little gesture that you cannot be aware about it. Let's say that we are talking together and I'm really intellectually interested about this. My right eye will be bigger like this because the right side of the body, it's more regarding the rational side, the words and everything, the analysis. So I will be really interested. So if you say to me, Christine, your right eye is so big, I will say, I don't know. I don't feel it. So this is unconscious gesture. So, but the conscious gesture is still really interesting because it's the way we do it. If I shake hand, if I decided to shake hand, Well, it's a conscious gesture, but the way I shake hand, I'm shaking hand, it's going to be interesting to analyze. So you see, every movement of the body, we can analyze it. It depends of the context. It depends of a lot of information. And it's really, you know, I always say to people, the gut feeling is so important. This is the basic, the gut feeling, yes, the feeling that we have inside. So the gut feeling, it's the basic of everything. It's there for something. It's we, you know, that we see a threat in 200 milliseconds. It's really fast. We know that there is a threat in front of us really fast. It's why we fly or freeze. But regarding this, we manage the situation. So we call this the feeling. The feeling is not that abstract. It comes from the mirror neuron. The mirror neuron is we call this also the empathetic neuron. It's the one who can interpret, understand the acting of the other one. But it's regarding the gut feeling, the feelings is regarding our experiences also. Let's say that we have, I know that you have children, I have children. When we change diapers of those little babies when they were young, we were making a lot of expressions to them, you know, so they don't cry and everything. But they're taking pictures of us each time we're doing another expression, and it went into the mirror neuron, and it stayed there. It's why when we are older and adult, we are seeing people and we say, oh, I feel that there is something with this person. I feel that he doesn't feel good, or he feel good, or, you know, there is something there. It's just because we don't have words to explain them, but it's inside. So regarding the feeling, I call it the red flag. When you feel that there is something in front of you, it's because there is something. Your job after this, it's to analyze the situation, the body language, the words, the tone of voice, to see if everything goes in the same direction, and then you will know it's happening in front of you. The problem that it's that the people doesn't go to the second level. They stay in their feeling and they do not analyze what is going on in front of them. So they're staying in the feeling. They don't validate or invalidate the feeling. And yeah, and it's still good to invalidate the feeling. You see, if I see someone enter into the room and I feel that the person is not a good person, this is a feeling. But if I analyze everything, at the end I will say, oh, he is shy. He's not a close person. He's not, you know, a bad person. He's just shy. You see why it's so important to go further with the human in front of us. You have to observe the person.
Well, let me challenge you on that, right? The messaging from the gut to the brain and from the heart to the brain is 1,000, 10,000x. Yeah. So when we are doing the second and third layer, which part of the body are we using? Are we using the heart, the head, to second guess the gut? Or are we not second guessing, we're reaffirming?
I think we are reaffirming. I'm going to talk about the embodiment. The embodiment, yeah, you know about the embodiment. The embodiment, it's the impact that the environment has on us. The body responds to it. It goes to the hemispheres, and then the hemispheres analyze the situation and say, oh, this is it. So it comes from, we call this the bottom up. Sometimes we have a top down, of course. Sometimes we have a top down. For example, if I go to the dentist and he's coming with the, you know, the thing that he has to, and it's gonna be hurting. So I'm saying to my body, check you, it's gonna hurt. This is the top down, but usually it's bottom up. It's really like we feel it and afterward we analyze it. You know, the axis of the head. Let's say that we are talking, you and me, and suddenly I'm aware that I'm looking at you more with my left side like this. This is the left rotational axis. This is keeping the link with the other one. It's the seductive one. It's the one that we want to share with the other one. So this side, I'm not aware of it. I can suddenly, because it could be semi-conscious, I can say to myself, oh, my head is not aligned. Oh yeah, I feel good with this person. I feel really into the communication, but it was my body who feels it first. And then I reacted and I analyzed it. So usually it's like, of course, specialists will have a better answer of your question. I'm doing it regarding the body movement. Yeah.
Okay, so you walk in, you have a gut feeling, and then you start to look at the tonality, the expression, the body, the body language, and of course additional words, right, as they are expressed.
Yeah,
and through
exactly.
that space, you have a conclusion or whatever word you want to use in that space. So let's go through maybe a few, what are things to watch out for, and what are things to be very happy about? Maybe the two ends. Let's just have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the hands are the extension of the brain. When we want to talk, the hands are really into it. When you're not totally bilingual like me, the hands are helping a lot. So the hands are the extension of the brain, and they want to enter into the communication. So it's why it's so interesting to see when the hands stop moving suddenly. There is something. So we call it the rhythm of the body. Suddenly the body stopped moving. What I want to say regarding the hands is that when you are observing the hands, it gives you the way the person is feeling inside, the intensity of the emotion. If I feel really relaxed, my hands will be relaxed. Yes, I can move fast, but you will see that my ankles right here are really like smooth. My fingers are round. I'm really relaxed. So you will say, oh, Christine has energy, but she's relaxed. If I started to be tense inside, I will start with my fingers. My fingers will be not anymore round, they will be straight like this. So it's not in our posture to be like this. This is more tension inside of the body. And if I have a strong stress, maybe I will close my hand like this because I refraining my emotion right here. I'm taking it inside. So just by looking the hands, it gives you information. Of course, when we know why we are going on the right side, the left side, in front of us, and all those information, it's interesting. It's also interesting regarding the hands, the way the configuration of the hands is while we are moving. There is 5 configuration, and this one is the I could say the positive one, because it means that we are going all together at in the same direction. It's like the highway. We are both in the same level. It's really interesting to see it. If you want more positive, it's like this. This is openness. You see the palm is really open. If I'm saying, let's say that I'm saying that I'm an expert in I don't know, I'm a dentist and I'm an expert in this, and I'm talking to you and I say, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I'm an expert in this and blah blah blah. You will say this person is confident, is assertive. This person is open. If I say to you, I'm an expert in this. This is really interesting, and you will know everything about this. You will say, there is something wrong here. The person is like, making a barrier with everything. So if I'm doing this and putting everything around me like this to make a barrier, a barrier, you will say that I'm not into the communication. You will start to feel like not well with this. You will say there is something strange into it. But if you open your torso, if your hands are open, if you go toward the other one will be welcome to talk. And it's of course, we can go into the authenticity. Being authentic is you know, making possible your body to show how you feel inside without any barrier. If I don't feel well, Feisal, I will be like this, and I'm authentic. And you will say, Christine doesn't, you know, she's not willing to talk with me today. She doesn't feel this. And then we will go toward questioning to understand why I feel like this. But I'm still authentic. Being authentic is not being like well open all the time. Being authentic, it's to let your body feels what you feel inside.
So it's really allowing the feeling and expressing that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah,
so it's not
absolutely.
That you have to be cinémateur the whole time, right? It's
exactly. Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, of course we can act something. Let's say that I'm into a conversation and it doesn't go well in the conversation. I will first look at me. I will look at me and say, Christine, are you the one who is close into the communication? Are you like really like not into it? If I'm not into it, I will force myself to open up a little bit. And it's gonna impact my body, and I will suddenly feel good about it and really open. It may be gonna take times because, you know, I don't feel it really. I feel like I'm a little bit more, close. But if I open myself physically, I will finish by feel it. And if I don't feel it, well, it's because it doesn't go well at all. And I don't belong there, you know, or I don't belong into this conversation. I should stop the conversation and say, you know what, I'm gonna come back when I'm gonna feel better.
So is there any kind of mantra or anything you say to yourself before you walk in a room? You know, some of our masters will say, what would love do now?
Yeah.
Right? So is there something that you say before you start a meeting or when you walk into a room or you're about to meet someone? To yourself, of course. I'm not saying.
Yeah, to myself, I'm saying you have a space around you. Play in your space, live in your space, and move in your space. Don't be all all closed like this. Use your space, open your arms, talk to everyone. There is people around you, and you know we have only one life to one life to live. People around us are so important, interesting. Everyone has something to give me. So I just say to myself, open up and take what people are giving you today. And it's always like this. And it's why I'm sitting in front of people and I'm starting open, because it's because, you know, people, when we are seeing someone for the first time, we have four steps in our head. We're saying, is that could be a friend, or is that could be a threat, or could it be a lover, or I'm not interested at all. So we have like four categories in our head. So when we are observing someone, we are making this category. So I want to have friends. I want to see if it's relevant, if it's a good thing to open up to this person, to see if we can share something together first, and afterward, if not, I'll do what I have to do with it. But first, I want to feel it before. Yeah.
Okay, there's a question saying, I wonder if there's an intersection of nonverbal and nonviolent communication through which percentage of words, tone, and body language changes.
Regarding the nonviolence, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know a lot about this. I work with those kind of people who has that training, nonviolence communication. Regarding this, I would say that what is interesting is the way we questioned. The way we question to see if the person in regarding the way they are talking, if they stay in a negative mood or not. Let's say that I'm in front of a person who is really like, you know, a person who wants to be like a little bit like not that nice with me. And I want to understand why this person, first of all, I will ask myself, what is the fear of the person? Because if the person feels like this, it's because there is a fear inside of them. Which fear is it? So we have to understand, is it fear to not be loved? Is it fear to lose something? Is it fear to looks like not an expert? What is the fear inside of them? And for this, I will explore with few questions. And we have types of question. We have emotional question, rational question, cognitive question, we have relationship question, we have acting question, and observation question. So if I want to have a good communication with the other person regarding the non-violence communication, I will really be aware of the kind of question I will ask to the person in front of me, to first find the fear, and second, to open the communication. Because regarding the question, it's really important to know how to question. Let's say that I'm with my family, and there is someone who is not feeling, in a good mood today. And I say to myself first, she's never in a good mood. Let's say I'm saying this to myself. Instead of saying, you're still not in a good mood, are you? This is a bad question. I'm making the fire into the communication. The person will, say, I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a bad mood. And you always say, this is not a good question. I know that I will ask an emotional question. I will say, of course, I can say, how do you feel today? But it's a little bit too much regarding her mood, Yeah. So I will say probably, how is it going today? This is not the same thing. Even if it's the same objective, the same goal, it's not the same question. The question is not having a bad impact to the person. So you have to be careful with the kind of question you ask to a person in front of you. So the person, and questioning is to be curious about having new information, and not just to validate our thinking.
Our assumption,
it's really, it's to have new information.
Okay. So let's continue. I mean, you talked about the hands. Are there any other basic elements that you can teach us today while we're on the call, or
we will talk about, because in the relationship it's important to see rejection sign. Because when I'm with my girl, my daughter, and I want to talk with her, and suddenly she makes, let's say that I say to Elizabeth, my daughter, can you do this for tomorrow morning?
Okay.
And while I'm saying this, I have to watch her, because when we are talking to someone, at the middle of the sentence, the other person already start to answer the question. So we already see movements, okay? So I still look at my daughter, and during the time I say, can you do this for tomorrow? And send it to me by email or whatever. And during that time, she's doing a rejection sign. A little sign like this, a rejection sign. It's a really small gesture, but very fast gesture that goes from us toward the external, because you don't want it. You want to return it to the sender, you see? So I'm asking her something and she's doing this. And I see that it's a negative gesture, it's a rejection sign. I will not say, aha, Elizabeth, you just did a rejection sign, you don't like blah, blah, blah. No, I will not say anything. I will just say to myself, okay, rejection sign with the deadline. I said for tomorrow morning, there is something there. I will come back with a question, a cognitive question, because I understand the relevance of those two information. So I will come back a little bit in 5 minutes and I will say, is it okay for tomorrow morning? I know that the delay is really short. Are you okay with this? And she will see the open doors and she will say, you know what, Mom, it's really difficult for me. I have to go there and there and there. And, you know, my boyfriend is doing this and blah, blah. It's really difficult for me. Okay, no problem. We will check what we can do together. So Elizabeth will say, we have a good communication, you and me. It's just because I'm clinging up all the communication all the time. I'm taking care of her. It's really taking care of others. You know, I can ask the question, how do you feel today? And the person say, oh, I don't feel well. Do this. And then I go home. This is not taking care of the person in front of us. You see, you can have a good question, but you don't take care of the person in front of you. This is different. The caring is not giving all the answers. The giving is to listen, to verify if everything goes, you know, all the way, all together. This is the way we are taking care of people. So it's really interesting to take care of people by asking questions, but to observe them, to observe the fact that if you see a rejection sign, I can give you another rejection sign. Yeah. We see this all the time. This one, it's a rejection sign. It goes from us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the same thing as doing this. This is because it doesn't smell good in the situation. But when you do this, it's because you're rejecting the situation. You know, it's not personal. If you do this, it won't be personal to me. I will say, oh, maybe I should explain something else, or maybe I'm not going in the good direction. Maybe there is something that it doesn't feel right here. You know, I'm going to ask a question, of course. But when you see this, it's a rejection sign. Maybe I'm rejecting the time that goes too fast. Maybe I'm rejecting the fact that I don't know what. There is something about me or about the other one. So it's why it's important to understand the impact that we have also on the other one. So if we see a rejection sign, we ask ourselves, is it regarding what I'm saying? Yeah. Is it regarding my personality? Is it regarding something else? What is it? What is it about? Don't overthink that it's always you. So it opens a lot of communication when you see this and you say to yourself, oh, it's not regarding me. It's regarding the fact that I didn't explain well, or I have to make more precision, or, you know. So it's good. It's opening the communication. So we don't have, there is no negative gestures. People always say to me, oh my God, Christine, she's there. Don't move. No. Still move. You know, it's having a good communication. You know,
don't move. She's gonna box you into 55 labels.
Exactly. You know, so yeah, I still have friends. So yeah, I don't analyze every.
No, I remember the first time we spoke after an hour and 45 minutes. I asked you. I said, "Okay, now tell me, Christine, what happened?"
Yeah, I remember this. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, yeah. So now what are some of the things that you might want to share? Okay, so you've shared a couple of rejections.
Yeah, rejection.
What else?
There is maybe a few more. There is few more. Yeah, well, a lot of more. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give you another one. Really easy to see. It's when you clean the table suddenly. Okay, so let's say that we are talking together and you say, Christine, I need your document for tomorrow. This is my table, okay? And you say, Christine, I need your document for tomorrow morning. And I say, oh, tomorrow. Well, no problem, tomorrow. You see, when you start to clean the desk, the table, or something, it's because you are annoyed inside. And so this emotion, you have to do something because you have suddenly much more energy, negative energy, and you have to push something outside. So this is interesting, but it's not the same thing if we are talking together and it goes very well and I'm doing this, micro caressing the table toward me. It's because I like the topic. I like what we are talking about. I like the situation. This is not the same thing. So like, don't like.
It's not.
It's really easy to see. It's really easy. And I'm sure you're not surprised about this. I'm sure that if you see this, you'll say, yeah, it's so logical. The body is logical. It's so logical. It's really interesting. It's like I'm not teaching anything new to people. It's just that people doesn't have the words, or didn't take a, they don't take aware of it. They don't see it. They don't analyze it.
Wow.
So it's interesting. I want to share something else also. Why is it so important in the communication to analyze the body language, but not only the body language, to analyze the person reaction? I'm talking about the facial expression. I'm talking about the kind of the emotion, the kind of emotion that the person has, because there is not only basic emotion. Yes, we have fear, we have a surprise, and we are sadness. Yes, those emotions, everyone knows about them. But what is important regarding the emotion, when you don't know how the other person feels, is to analyze the type of emotion and not the name of the emotion. So I'm not, let's say that my daughter doesn't feel well, and I'm saying to her, oh, Elizabeth, you seem very angry when I'm talking to you about this. She will start to be angry if she was not angry, and she will say, "I'm not angry." Blah blah blah. You see, I'm putting in her mouth what I think that she feels. Yes. But if I say to my daughter, you seems to have a reaction regarding this topic. What is it about? She will say, yes, mom, I'm frustrated about this. I don't like this because that, and that. You see, I opened the communication because of the way I asked the question. I didn't put the name of the emotion, but I saw that my daughter has an hypertonic emotion, means a strong emotion, a withheld emotion, keeping for herself, and a negative emotion. With those three rules, we can understand the person in front of us. We don't need the word, the good word. We don't need to know exactly the good emotion, because it's not my job to see the real emotion. My job is to open the communication, to let the person tell me, explain to me, because maybe that person doesn't know how they feel inside. Anyway, they don't know how they feel. I don't know how I feel. And if they don't know how they feel, it's because they have composite emotions. What is it? It's having few emotions at the same time. Let's say that I'm in a funeral, and I'm crying, and the door open in the funeral home, and I see my best friend I didn't saw from like 10 years, and I see her, and I'm laughing a little bit, smiling, but I'm crying at the same time. I have two real emotions, a positive one and a negative one. So if you say, Christine, how do you feel? I don't know. I don't know. It's like mixed up in my head, you see? And we can have another kind of emotion. We call this surviving emotion. It's in English, it's heterogeneous emotion. Yeah, heterogeneous emotion, yeah. Okay. And those one, the body makes you feel this emotion to survive of a situation. Okay. Yeah. let's say that, yeah, I watch a lot of videos of people in, having a big negative story experience. They had a lot of pain inside, and they were talking about this pain. And at one moment, there is always a little smile while they're talking. It's because the body is saying, it's okay, don't worry, we will get through it. Even if it's difficult, we will get through it. So we have a little something inside, the body change a little bit and say, it's going to be well, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's the same thing if, young teenager has to talk in front of the class and they are laughing in front of the class because they're too nervous. This is the body who changed everything. So everyone is laughing because it's funny to see him laugh, So the body changed the emotion just to survive about the situation. So this is interesting to understand that the emotion in front of us, we don't always have to put a name on it. Just be aware of those 3 rules. Hyper or hypotonic. Is it a strong emotion or a smooth emotion? Is it a positive or a negative emotion? Or is it a withheld emotion or a shared emotion? So it's important to see this. And we don't say to people, she's not saying what she's feeling, she's a liar. No, not at all. There is a difference. If let's say that we're working together and I pass through you in the morning, I enter into the building and you see that I cried. And you say to me, Christine, how are you? And I say, oh, I'm well, it's okay. I'm passing through like this. You will not say, she's a liar, You will not say that. You will say, Christine doesn't want to talk about this right now. Yeah. Let's say that you are your wife, and you say, oh, she has a nice let's say a nice jewel. But the jewel is so big, it's really strange. And you say, oh, did you see the jewel? And it's really funny to see, and you know it. And she knows it also, that it's like a little bit big. And you say, how do you like her jewels? And I say, oh, it's surprising. And we all laugh about it. You will not say, Christine, she's a liar. You will say, Christine taking care of us, and she's making like something really funny about it, because it's like empathetic, Okay. So it's not the same thing. But if you ask me, Christine, did you eat chocolate just before going to bed yesterday? And I say, no. You will see that it's a false no. It's not a sincere no. And you will say, liar. You lied just right now. And I did. I did. So the cognitive way to analyze if the person is, to see if the person is lying or not, it's not regarding always the words. It's to ask a question regarding the emotion, the relationship, and the cognitive way. And you see, but lie is not that important. You know what? I wrote a book on this. It's really something. Yeah, I wrote a book to catch a lie. But today I'm saying to people, you know what? It's not the lie that is so important. It's the unsaid. Because the unsaid gives you so much information and open up the communication. If you see unsaid movement, let's say that you ask me a question, Christine, how do you feel to work with Susan tomorrow in this thing, or to go into this activity with Susan tomorrow? And I say, oh, that's good. And I close my mouth at that point. And I say, oh, that's good. You will see this and you will say, oh, Christine is keeping information for herself, because the mouth is to talk. So when I want to say something, my mouth stay open and I want to say everything, you see? But if I don't want to say it, I'm going to close my mouth like this. So you will say to yourself, Kristen doesn't want to tell me something about the relationship with Susan at work. So I'm going to ask a relationship question. That's it. And it's going to open the communication. So the body language is not there to be intrusive in the person.
Or to be
No.
judged. Okay.
Yes, exactly. It's just to open every time the communication. So it's important in the relationship to see the doubt, just the doubt movement, the doubting movement, the rejection sign, to see openness or closeness. It's important. Or when we negotiate our point of view, I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about our point of view when we are negotiating our point of view. Is the other person is really confident, really assertive, is really into it or not? You know, we have to check that, and the impact that we have to the other. When we are talking to someone, the person could be in like we say in 8 state of mind, 9 state of mind today, but let's talk about 2 of them. You can be receiving what I'm saying, or you can be analyzing what I'm saying. And when you're analyzing what I'm saying, you're not with me anymore. You are in your head, and yes, analyzing things. And so whatever I'm saying, the time that you're analyzing, it doesn't come into your head. So it says stop, stop, stop. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. I'm not. It could be even negative. So it's the time. It's when you talk to someone, it's important to see if the someone is receiving or analyzing it. And we call this theory, it's the behavioral I don't recall the names, but there is 2 theories on this. So the theory of the fact that we are receiving, all the body will be open to receive. And you, yes, exactly, and you will blink. You're blinking, yeah, you're blinking because you're taking information for the external and you put it internal, and you put it in your head in some places to organize the situation. You're going out, you're coming inside, you're going. So you're blinking, it's showing me that you are with me. When you stop blinking, it's because you are in a overload cognitive space presently. You are like, oh, I don't know. So you are in your head trying to understand what is going on. So everything that comes out, it's you don't take it. So it's interesting to see, is the person is with me or analyzing the situation. So it's the time of talking. Is it the time to say something? If I have something really strong to say to someone, I want to be sure that I'm on the same, the good time to tell him something. Because if he is not receiving, it's because there is something that he doesn't understand, he doesn't approve. There is something else. I have to clean this before, and then we will go into the good, the good, what the impact that I have to give to this person, the importance of the word that I have to say. I have to be in the good time. A good time talking. Yeah.
So how come we're not taught any of this at school or as a child? Or it's like why we were not taught mindfulness and meditation and all the basics, right? So what is that changing? Is that being even brought up, or that's not even a conversation?
I'm not sure of the answer, but I know something. The new generation are really into movement. Kids, teenager, they're always with their phone. They're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. They are always seeing movement. They want movements. They don't want to hear, they want to see at the same time. So there will be a new generation of people who wants to see the other to move. Even if it's on online like this, they want to see, because they are always into the movement. So I think it's going to change a little bit regarding this. Now, will they know more? Probably, because they're practicing more, they're practicing more. Yeah, because of this. But is it on school, teaching on school? No. The problem is the judgment. People are really scared regarding the judgment. And for a good thing, it's really a good thing, because people, as I said, they're seeing something, they have a feeling, and they stop there. They're making a word and they do not analyze the other things.
Okay.
So they're making a judgment. So it's why it's difficult to teach. It's not difficult at all. Okay, I'm the one who say it should be in school, really at a really young age. My daughter know nonverbal since she is little. It's important for me that she can understand the teacher, other class friend, those people. Why is he the new lovers and everything? It's important for me to teach her to see everything. Now she's 25 years old, and she always see things, and she's, I'm saying to her, you have a good judgment. This is good. You're analyzing well, so your judgment is good regarding the reaction you have in front of this, because you analyze the situation, you verify, you had your feeling, you analyzed, you ask a question, and then you react. So the reaction is a good reaction, often, not always, of course, but often a good reaction because that. So if they could have this at a young age, I'm sure that the relationships always, when I'm talking about the let's say that the children that goes into, or the teenagers that are in the street and they're fighting all together because they cannot take into consideration the way they feel and where they're seeing. They're not assertive about what they're seeing. So the only way is to fight, to communicate. Okay. So yeah, they don't have the words, and they're not sure of what they're seeing, so they fight. That's it. It's the fastest way to communicate. But if we can help them to be a better communicator, a better, to take care of the other one, they don't have to fight. But it's at the young age. This afternoon, I'm giving a conference presentation for victims of conjugal. How do we say that? Women that are abused in their relationship. Yeah, and how to detect that before it happening. And it's not only women, it's men, it's people that are victims into this kind of situation. How to detect the aggressiveness, because we can see that the person starting to be manipulating, and then it changes to being annoyed, and then afterward being frustrated, and then angered, and then aggressive. So we can see this. So it's how to see it and to say it also.
Right, we've got a few questions. So one often says that women tend to nod frequently when listening to others. Is this a sign of wanting to please, or a sign of active and engaged listening, or a sign of lack of confidence and feeling inferior to the speaker, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true that the women are more seductive in their communication. Okay. This is how we are inside of us. Okay, we will call it seductive. It's more positive. Okay, it's more positive than saying that it's submissive. But it's the way we are. The men are more direct in their communication. The women goes around a little bit. Okay, we have like strategies. We have strategies, and those strategies we can have. Well, everyone can have those three kinds of strategies. Okay, we can be a syntonic, a vigilant, or a conqueror. Okay. To gain, to go into a situation and to win. So it's regardless if it's a woman or a man, it's the same thing. But women, we are better at doing the syntonic way. What is the syntonic way? It's to play the good person, just to, the good person, just to, relax. Don't, the men are really like strong. They are like really, direct. So I have to say, calm down a little bit. It's okay. Don't worry. So we tend to do it a little bit more. So our gestures are more like relax, or not relax, but down a little bit. We just want to, we want to show that we will not fight. So we are more, small, more round, more little, just to show. It's like animals. It's the same thing. So we want to show that we're not like, we will not go into it. Of course, if my personality is a conqueror a little bit, I will talk like this. This is not the same thing. So we can be a woman and be like this also. But yes, we tend to be more smooth in our communication, more going around to it, to be in a strategy. I think it's survival. It's only regarding this. We're not the same, the same. We don't have the same, we're not that strong as men regarding the body. So it's why we have to use strategies. So it's only regarding this. Of course, a specialist in this will have a better answer than me, but I'm talking about body language. I can see men and women, but we are doing the same thing, but there is few gestures that are not the same also regarding women and men.
You want to share those few gestures, or?
Yeah. Well, sitting, of course, sitting. When you're sitting in a chair, men are usually spreading out a little bit more. Okay, women tend to go in the middle. Yeah, to be like you're really straight, and to be. It's regarding the way we are dressing. Also, of course, it's all regarding this. But women are more like this. Women are moving more regarding the movement of the wrinkles and all the articulation. And when you ask a man to play a woman, they will do this. It's like, so women are more flexible like this. So it's why we're moving more like this. So it's interesting to see, but the rest of it is the same thing. We're scratching at the same place. We are doing the same thing with hands. We're doing the same thing. There is few things, but not that much. Yeah.
Okay. We've got another question. Can one teach an old dog new tricks? Can someone who is a poor listener, quite self-centered, very bulldozing or bossy, to be taught to become more self-aware and more of a conscious body language speaker and body language observer? Wow, that's
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
And I love this question because the answer is yes. And I'm so proud to say that the answer is yes. Because this person, of course, if it's a psychological thing that I cannot help it. But you know what? Autisms or Asperger come to me sometimes and say, I want to read the emotion of the other one. I cannot, I don't know what is happening. And yes, I'm helping them. I'm helping them to see the emotion of the other one. But it's more mechanical, but we can do it. So they know when to smile. They know when to, they know when to, the communication is better, but they don't care about the emotion of the other one, but they can play it just to have a better communication. So we can do it with those people. We can do it with people that doesn't have any problem like this, just a problem that, sometimes there is rational people. Rational people, they are rational, they are organized, they are, the time is really important, the see, and all those things. And it's that kind of people who will say, how are you, Feisal, today? And you say, oh, I don't feel, oh, you should do that. And then they're doing something else. So it's really interesting to see that those kind of people have another way to take care of the other one, is to help them physically or with fast answer. They just we just have to show them the importance of the other way, the emotional way, the rational, the relationship way. It's important for them. It's for them to understand that it's important, because maybe it's not important for them. So it's to show them the reaction and the impact that they have in their communication, because they don't care. Not they don't care. They're not. Yeah, they're not aware of it. Yes, exactly. So because of this, it could be a problem. So it's all a yes in this question. Absolutely.
All right, we have a few more minutes. I want to just talk about what's relevant to the families. Obviously, the communication is 60% of the reason why families are not actually able to move through succession. And I know we're going to be working together on families and the ability to communicate and the ability to relate, right? What are the key elements that you're seeing in that communication breakdown? What are the things that you are seeing when it comes to families?
When it comes to families, one of the problem, it's the experience of everyone that being with into the family for a long time. Let's say that if I say to my daughter or my son, I have to tell them something. I know the reaction they will have. So I'm saying to myself, I know the reaction she will have if I say this. This is not good. This is a bias. It's my bad experience bias that close the communication. It's why it's so important to know how to question the person. So our experience is a bias. We have to observe and to analyze what are the bias.
Okay.
What do I see to the other? What do I show? What do I see? And how the other responding. Usually we are asking a question and we don't care about how they react. Exactly. We just want to hear what we want to hear.
Yes.
So this is me. Yes, it's all about me. So it's really regarding to observe the body, to see signs of openness, rejection, closeness, to empathetic gesture, to see gesture and to say, okay, this person is in this mood presently regarding the subject. How can I work around this? Yeah. So it's how to communicate regarding the body. Okay. It's really important. Again, if I see openness, I will say it's the good time. Is she responding or analyzing presently? Okay, I can see that she's blinking. I can talk to her about this. Let's do this. But I will be aware of the type of question. I will not put an answer in my question. Exactly. I will put in a question that I'm curious to have an open question and a curious question. I want new information, not the information that I already know, new information. It's all regarding this. And it's young and older and adult. It's everyone has to see this, has to be aware of all of this. Yeah.
So you're going back to the state of being, right? Because your bias from experience brings the imposition, the expectation, and the judgment. When we work with many of the advisors, this is the preparation we do before that conversation begins. Because if you don't do that, right, you're showing up with so much stuff that is very challenging for anyone to be able to decipher, right? It just becomes a whole judgmental expectation imposition conference, right? Instead of coming in with an empty cup. So it's the same process, but you're doing it by looking for the opening of that communication through the curious question without a charged question, right? But curiosity.
Exactly. And to see the reaction, because maybe I have closed eyes and I don't see that the person is open to talk about it. So it's why it's so important to observe this and the changing of the body during the communication. Maybe we are full open at the beginning and suddenly, whoops, the person is crossing a little bit or changing position on the chair. I will say, oh, there is something, I'm going too fast now. I'm going too strong. Get back a little bit, be careful, take a break, go it slowly. So it's regarding, you know, it's a play. We are playing all together with the body and flowing with the communication and a good question. It's important. And regarding the words that the other person is using, if the person using, you know, if the person using the word protection, okay, protection. For me, protection is positive, because protection is, we are protecting ourselves, we are protecting what we think, we are protecting our family. Protection is good for me. But for other, the word protection is negative.
Yes.
She's protecting herself, she's close, or blah, blah. So you see, even the words can be because of the perception of the word.
Yeah. All right, we're actually over time, which we normally don't do, Christine.
Sorry.
So no, it's perfectly fine. It's me who's who's managing the time. So in terms of closing remarks, Christine, I know we will send to those who are watching now and those who watch later the PowerPoint that you've created for them to be able to absorb some of the things from a visual perspective. I think that would be beautiful. So in terms of in closing remarks, what can we do or consider or take back with us to be more open, more curious in our communication going forward with our loved ones and with whoever we encounter?
Only three things. Observe, observe. Try to understand openness, closeness. If you don't understand the word openness, closeness, and then ask a question to validate or invalidate what you just saw, because it's important to not go into a judgment, but observe. It gives you so many information. It's really important.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Christine. Thank you very much. It was a beautiful conversation. I know that we're going to be working with some of the families that are online right now. So it'll be a real fun experience, whether they're their CEO or on their succession model. So that's going to be beautiful. Thank you, everyone. We're going to have next week Diana Chambers coming in, who's going to talk about the relationship with wealth and how that has an impact. So, you know, the relationship with money. And after that, we have Mark McMullen coming in, Deputy CEO of Stone Age Flemings, the largest family office, going to talk about the family office and how they're working with evolving families. So again, thank you very much, Christine. Thank you. Really. Have a good day. I know it's your morning. We're closing down. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Feisal. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye.